So we develop inhalation products, and the reason why we do it is this. There are 500 million people, half a billion people out there suffering from diseases to the lung. It's mainly asthma and COPD. And those diseases are not possible to cure. You can only manage the symptoms. So chronic diseases, and we can manage the symptoms. And the drugs used to manage those diseases sell for about $30 billion annually. So this is a huge market, and it's a huge segment within the pharma industry. But it's something that's very, very special and very unique about it. And this slide highlights that about half of that market share is those products here. So it's very, very tilted in one direction. The few products pretty much have the whole market. And this is the AstraZeneca, Symbicort Turbo Inhaler, GlaxoSmithKline product, the Novartis product, and Boehringer Ingelheim. And those products have had the market pretty much for over almost 2 decades, but now they are becoming off patent. So the Turbo Inhaler is off patent, the Symbicort is off patent, the Alvear Discus is completely off patent, and the two to the left are becoming off patent very, very shortly. This one is exception. So those products becoming off patent, and normally in the pharma industry, when a product becomes off patent, the generics flood the market, and within weeks the price has dropped to 10 with 90%, and the original product is gone. But in inhalation products, it's different. And the reason why is that the inhalation product comprises 2 parts. It's a dry powder, which is the actual drug, and also an inhaler. And those two must work together. So the powder in the inhaler must work in order to deliver the drug to the lung. And this is very delicate and very difficult task to do, because in order to deliver drugs to the lung, the particles must be few micron in size. If they are smaller, they will be exhaled. If they are larger, they will deposit in the mouth. So it's very, very narrow size range the particles must have in order to deposit in the lung. And that puts great demands on the powder and on the inhaler in order to deliver this in a uniform way. And this is why this is a very significant hurdle for generic companies to enter this market. And this hurdle manifests itself. It takes a long time to develop such a product, because you need to develop the inhalation device and the powder. And the generic companies typically don't have expertise in device development. They have the pharma experience, but not the mechanical device experience. So it takes a long time. It's very costly to do such development. It takes 5, 6, 7 years. It's a long, costly, and perhaps most importantly, it's very risky. So it's a high risk for the developer that you will eventually fail or be significantly delayed. So this is a major deterrent for the generic companies to enter this market. And there we have our role. So we have in Iconovo, we have a unit, we have people developing devices. We have developed our own devices that we have already ready and we can offer to our clients. We have capability to deliver and develop the dry powder formulation. So we have expertise, we have the facilities, the equipment to do all of this in-house, and we also have analytical labs to test the product. So we are fully equipped to deliver such products, and most importantly, we have the experience and competence to do it. Myself and most of my colleagues are ex-AstraZeneca colleagues that have decades of experience developing such products. We have great advantage there in terms of experience and competence. So we can deliver this in a much shorter time. So by working together with us, you can significantly reduce the time. That's your time to market. you can reduce the cost, and by that I mean the upfront cost for the development, what you invest in the development. We recover our spending later as revenue, as royalties when the product's on the market. So when working with us, our partners only pay for the final adjustments of the product that we do together. So we have invested ourselves into developing the products up to like a platform level. So we have a device available, we have dry powders available, and when our client comes in, we just add the specific drug powder, do some final testing, optimization, stability testing, documentation, etc., etc. The client pays for that, and then when the product's on the market, we get royalties. And putting this all together, it reduces the risk for our partners significantly, because before they enter in agreement with us, there are devices they can test, they can get data, we can do some feasibility study, pre-studies, all of that, in order to make them feel very, very comfortable and confident that we will succeed. So it's very, very low risk. And and this is how we set up our business model. So we offer this mainly to the generic companies. We do it directly. We don't have any agents or external people. We do all the selling ourselves. We have very large network of people high up in the generic companies. We have been in the business for a long time, so we know the heads of R&D, the heads of business development, etc. So we have direct links to those people, and we have access. So we develop the products, license that to our customers, and they manufacture, register, and sell the product. So we do not do any clinical trials, we don't do any manufacturing. That's for our customers to do. We do all the development. And typically, agreement with us is that we get a technology access fee to start with, and that's like an entry ticket to work with us, and that provides or gives the customer exclusivity for a certain drug, a certain territory. And then during the development, we get payments, milestone payments, as we advance to development, and when the product's on the market, we receive royalties as percentage on the sales. We have 4 agreements already in place, 2 major ones, one with CBC, when we develop a generic version of AstraZeneca Symbicort Turbohaler, and we also have another with Intas Pharma, where we develop another project for our Iconovo device, but we cannot disclose which one that is. But both those agreements are royalty-based deals, so we get exactly as I explained previously, we get the upfront payments, milestone payments, and then eventually royalties. We also have a deal with Stevanato Group to manufacture and sell one of our devices, this one, as an off-the-shelf product, and we get royalties on that sales. And we also have an ongoing work with Tua Pharma, that's a Japanese company, where we now are investigating which product we should develop together. So we have performed a very successful pre-study with different drugs, and now we are assessing the market, interacting with Japanese authorities to decide how to move forward. Yes. Yes, that's the upfront payment and milestone payments, not royalties. This slide would explain a bit how the royalties show. So we put this slide together for our quarterly report now recently to try to illustrate what the royalty could look like. So this is based on public domain information and what we have already communicated. And we used the Symbicort, generic Symbicort product as an example. And if we look at what the market is for that product today, it is $1 billion is what it sells for today, the original product. And together with PwC, we have made an assessment of what could the market shares be for a generic product like ours. So they looked at the historical data, some kind of models of that, and they reached the conclusion it's about 10%. So they say that our customer, when they put the product on the market, they could get about 10% market share. And that means out of the billion US dollar, 10% is 100 million US dollars market share. And we get the royalty on that between 5 and 10%, as I said. So the royalties, the annual royalties we get from this project is between 5 and 10 million US dollars. And this is Symbicort project. Then we have the other one with Intas, which I cannot disclose which one it is, so I cannot do this calculation, but it's in the similar order of magnitude. So it's maybe on the lower end of this, but still in the similar order of magnitude. So those are the royalties that we see ahead of us when the product's on the market. Our product portfolio looks like this. So we have up to the top left, we have our flagship, the Iconovo, and that's the inhaler that we had those two agreements about. And this is pretty much a generic a device that's equivalent to the turbohaler. It looks completely different on the inside, but it gives the same dose, the same clinical effect, and it's handled in the same way, but it's in a different technical solution. And then we have the Capsule Inhaler that I mentioned earlier that Stevanato is manufacturing. One of them is already manufacturer ready. The other one is another version, is in a late prototype version. Then we have two products that we has just initiated the development of. I will come back to that more in detail. And then we also have the unit dose inhaler, which is already available here, but I will tell a bit more. So this is our product portfolio. And those products, those inhalers are protected by 6 approved Swedish patents. And we have several more pending, and we are also applied internationally. So we have 2 of those have been approved in Europe. One of them has been approved in Japan, and we are awaiting approval in the US, China, India, etc. And give you a bit more flavor of what our inhalers look like and what the benefits are of those. So this one, as I explained, is the inhaler that we do the generic Symbicort turbohaler in. And it has 2 very, very important features that we are addressing. And we're doing this based on the experience that myself and my colleagues have from working with Astra on this product, and we know what the patients and healthcare providers complain about constantly. There are 2 things. One is the counter. You don't know exactly how many doses you have left. Is this a pointer? Yeah. So here you see this says 80, this is 100. So it shows that you have somewhere between 80 and 100. It's a very, very coarse indicator, and you cannot really tell if you load it once more, if it goes 1 dose less, you cannot really see that on the indicator. So the patient complain, we don't know how many doses we have left. So our inhaler has an exact counter that counts each and individual dose from 120 down to 0. And so this gives the user a complete control to know how many doses you have left. When do I need to refill my prescriptions? Is it enough if I bring this on my trip, etc., etc.? So this is a very good feedback, and for many, many patients, this is extremely important. Another feature is that when you load this device, you do it like by twisting back and forth, exactly just like a turbohaler. There is no feedback telling you that you did this correctly. You twist back and forth and say, did I do it right, or should I do it one more just to be sure? And then you inhale. The amount of powder is so small you cannot taste it, you cannot feel it. So you feel like you're inhaling air, and you don't know, did I get the drug? Should I take one more dose just to be sure? So it lacks feedback, and that's common for most of inhalation devices. And this is something that patients complain about constantly, because no, did I do it correctly? For many people this is difficult, they don't really know, they're not really sure, and they need confirmation. So we have a feedback system. It's a window, so when you load the dose, now it's ready for inhalation, the window closes and tells you did that correctly, the drug is loaded, available for inhalation. You inhale, the window opens, you can see it now, it's open, that tells you successful inhalation, the drug has been delivered. Now you're done. And this is very important for the safety of the patients, for them to feel in control and confident. And also it's very important for if you are a caregiver, if you give this to your old mother or to your child to see, did they do it correctly? They maybe tell you that they did, but you want to see, did they do it correctly? So, and this window stays open until you load it the next time. So very, very important feedback. We also are prepared to introduce electronics inside. We think that's something that would definitely come in the future. It's a bit late in this specific segment, but it will come, and so we have prepared for it by having a very modular approach. So the mechanical, the counter, the feedback system, it's like a mechanical apparatus on top inside. So you can just remove it and put in an electronic unit instead. So it's very, very simple for us just to switch to electronics. So it's plenty of room to do that. So we will do that when we have customers interested in this. So this is very important with this generic Symbicort. We actually performed a clinical study earlier this year, received the results early summer, and this was the first time our inhaler was actually tested clinically, and to show that it works in the clinical stage. So we tested it against the original, the Symbicort Turbohaler, and got very, very good results. So they gave some very, very high level of confidence to move this forward. We know few things we need to fine tune, but pretty much we are very, very on track. So this is a very important validation for us, of course, but also for our customers and future customers, that we have something that works in the clinical stage. And for pharma companies, generics and originators, clinical data that's rules. You can have fantastic lab data, in vitro data, but they want to see clinical data, and now we have that. Well, I mentioned already this manufacturing with Stevanato. One very good thing about this agreement that Stevanato Group is manufacturing our inhaler is that they are a multinational group making specialized glass for injections, etc. And so they have most of the pharma companies globally as their clients in the glass segment. So they have already relationships with their business development or purchasing organization. So together with them, we go to territories where we typically don't know anyone, like South America or Turkey, etc. So we go with Stevanato. We've been twice in South America and visited local companies that are considering entering the inhalation area. They would never have found us, and we had never found them. But through Stevanato, we have outreach now to many, like second or third tier companies, local, national, generic companies. But for us, they are very important anyway. So the future. In January 19 this year, something very important happened. The first generic inhalation product was approved in the US. And up to then, the US was considered to be a closed market because the requirements from the FDA were so tough that no one has succeeded. But in January, Mylan succeeded after 4 years of struggling with FDA. They succeeded, and that showed that it is possible. So we immediately started thinking, how can we approach the US market, which is the biggest market, obviously. And the GlaxoSmithKline, they have a product family based on the Lipta inhaler. That's a new range of products, and those are new. They're still patent protected, but we see when they are getting off patent, and that's a very interesting market. So those are the products that are available in the Ellipta, and they sell today for $3.5 billion US dollars, and by 2024 they will sell in about close to $6 billion US dollars. So it's a huge market, and they will become off patent. The drug will be off patent from pretty much 25, the big one. So 2025, the Briarelva Ellipta, they will be selling for $2.5 billion US dollars, will be off patent, and then it will be open for generic competition. So we have made a decision a few weeks ago to invest in developing a fourth inhalation platform that will be a generic version of the Ellipta, or a device that could be equivalent to Ellipta. And it will be developed to meet all the requirements of the FDA and also the European requirements to be a generic version. So we have invested in doing the device and also formulation. So this is very exciting, and this is the biggest investment we have done ever. So this is for the future. The last odd inhaler is this one, is Ico1. It's very, very small, and it holds one dose only. And this is intended for vaccines primarily, but it could be for other things. And I don't know if you can see it, but it says here, stored at +2 degrees up to 8 degrees. It's cold storage, and that goes for pretty much all injected vaccine. It's cold storage, and you have a needle is injected. And this is a big hurdle in many cases. Maybe not in Sweden. When we go to the clinic, they have fridges, they have special containers for use syringes. But if you are in a rural area in Asia or somewhere, this is cold storage. That's ice boxes. And this is how you manage hazardous waste of used syringes. This is a huge problem in the world. And so we believe that when you use this inhaler, it's dry powder, stable at room temperature, no need for cold storage, and you don't need any syringe. You inhale it and you can just dispose of it. No risk, no hazardous waste, very, very simple. And we are currently working together with McMaster University, which is one of the leading universities in vaccine development, and they are developing a dry powder tuberculosis vaccine, and they're using our inhaler as their platform to do all the testing. And when this program is completed, an industrial partner will enter and take over. So I will skip that and show how we have developed on the market. We have a good race. It was a bit slow before people found out and understood our business, but since the summer it has taken off very nicely, and the market cap is about 400. Thank you.